one stopped over the other night. Outside somewhere. But, yeah. Always looking for property close by.
Anybody more at all? A little piece you got, can use that for trading. The other side of the road is your own.
No, probably not. I mean, I think it's getting used right now for the best thing it can be. County burning for trees. You know.
Yeah.
It gives them a spot and,
Easy in and out.
yeah, we could excavate a little bit of dirt out of there, but the dirt's not very deep. Cause there's a quarry that's about 200 yards away from
Oh,
it, an old abandoned quarry. So there's some good hard rock and that's,
Didn't like what you got down there.
yeah. And we're getting into some hard rock right now.
is that gray look?
Oh, it's like white. It is hard. We're chipping away at it.
Have you had also come in there and take and work some of the loose and some of that?
No, wants to. Because there's another blaster out there that would come in and do everything.
Influence.
Yeah, because I contacted them.
Yeah.
Did you talk to Joe?
No, I have not. After that,
They,
Oh,
he's got a lot of depth of experience in that.
there's Brian Heavy Equipment, got a crusher for sale for $37,000. Thought about buying for us. But Brian said, probably don't want this one. But now that you're looking, I'll keep my eyes open. He understands, you know, we wouldn't use it all the time and stuff. It's a nice small one to use at the landfill and see what that does.
yeah.
Might open a door.
Yeah.
And that's what's odd with landfill. We don't need many permits. We're kind of exempt. We're just excavating.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see, you know. Gotta keep some doors open.
Yeah.
You see Ben's long list of that on the HR side of things.
I didn't read through it.
I didn't read through it, but a lot of what he was, it appears to me that he was talking about was stuff that's accounting functions. You'll want to take a look at that. If we have some, because we need a line item in the budget that you would consider.
Yeah.
We are.
My question is, if we're looking at hiring, not hiring, whoever runs for county supervisor, if they would have an HR professional in their scope.
Full case. And
That's what we need to
Then-
look
then
at.
there's
Where are
the
we gonna
other-
find the
the
funding?
other- don't forget there's another nuance. Andy told me in the past was that people don't want to come into the county.
Because they don't want to be seen going.
That's the biggest part of it in his mind.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can ignore that piece too.
Yeah.
And Ben is really wanting to control things. His big blue all over. People want to move, you don't have to talk to everybody. Let's look at who, if we have to move somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, if we don't start planning on moving him. If we start trying to work through the process, because we own.
You almost not like actually.
I like a lot of permanent things.
To use it in the.
There's probably only one that I would like less, and that would be August.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I think the gist of what you're saying, I agree. We need to move to, we need to. I'm sorry. We gotta make it work for the whole county. When we fully- There are 3 of us in here now. Oh, I think we're on. Great.
Oh, you're fine. The,
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't see any other way to.
We need to make Which are you saying HR?
Me too. Otherwise I would.
The people have that number at their desk, they can call any time if they have an employee. Sorry. They can do that, that's what I do. But they also. We need to look at the difference.
Gotta have a magazine.
I was gonna say, you got a few up there too.
Yes.
I was thinking the sun wasn't today.
I would not want to.
Yeah.
It's turf protection.
Yeah, I thought when I was driving in, there was little like, so it's actually.
Well, there's no
It's
frost.
the same thing, having to fall in the car.
Cut that out.
Oh. Because I have to do a portion of it.
Made fast too.
That portion.
No, there's-
We also-
By the time I went home, damn, it was.
That's good.
So boring.
Up there, so they come outside and.
That together.
Good morning.
Okay.
You're a little baby.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about
No.
you.
It's like communications, 1 week.
How'd you handle that?
It was ready to come.
How are you? I think over. Southeast in front. Southeast. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People.
I haven't been hurt. Like, it's been off for 6 days in the last 2 weeks.
That's hot.
Been on crazy. Oh, I was, cause I was yelling at kids playing basketball. So, that was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. If anybody got shorted, well. I know. Oh, that's a good point. Don't get me. Yeah.
Yes.
Never should put it.
Yeah, I'll be.
Yep.
Have a seat. On the floor.
Was it helpful?
Sure it is. You can go to back up. I didn't accomplish that this week.
Okay. Good. This is. And this is what I failed to give my parents before. Not here last week.
They're really nice.
I
ones,
think it
too.
might have been one of the college students.
You know what the Republic does. Like this is wrong.
Well, it was a teacher in the class and
It was Carly.
local government.
It open, you reach out. to me.
Oh, I just said it. What? Oh, yeah.
You reach out to me.
I'll be out to Carly.
Yeah. Somewhat.
That's all.
Yeah, not in tonight.
You want a copy?
I thought there was a handout, that's why I asked. That's all.
Yeah, but that's also.
I already gave them a copy of this.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Make sure.
I don't know what.
And There's also copies up here of what we're discussing today.
Yeah.
Lots of copies.
Lots of copies.
Yeah. Lots of cookies.
We. That now we're. Sometimes now.
We did that.
Yeah.
All right, it's 9:30. All those that so choose, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order with everyone present. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded. If you choose not to be recorded, you have the option of leaving. First item on the agenda this morning, Michael Kueny, our county engineer. All yours, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I missed last week. Playing flight out of BC got canceled. It was particularly when just been here for the meeting. I did not hand Matt and Mike the board that had a meeting. That from Dan to sign. That's something that we can be voted on or anything.
Remind us again what we're changing.
This is for the floater position, we're adding a floater position. In the union.
Taking out a foreman position and putting in a floater.
That's the foreman is not in the union yet, so,
Well, that's correct.
so, yeah. The hierarchy has been changed.
Anyone like to take action on the union contract change?
Lawyer is in union.
He is in the
Yes.
union yet, or he or she is in the union yet. So,
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the change in the union contract. Is there any further discussion? None, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
first order of business, go through the report, let's have the DC, been going a lot the last couple of weeks, so hopefully, have a nice long report for you next week. This week though, we got, Bill's grant, we've had a couple of meetings in the last couple of weeks. I will be sending out a letter of support. I'll put all the names in there and everything. And look for that today. Further, railroad flat car bridge study, I talked to them, we just received, an invoice for that. We need to work with, our bridge inspector to make that usable. So, but not a whole lot of new on that end. Subdivision data is gathered. We're trying to decide when and if to do resurfacing on the High Point East and Old Lake subdivision within the county. Some of that is private road, so we'll be coordinating with the HOAs, interested parties, what they want to do. Just because High Point East has that new stuff going in, I might wait until next year until we do anything, just because you don't want equipment running into it kind of a thing. So I kind of want to bet on that. An outstanding position left, and I think one of our mechanics wants to be blade operator. So we will likely be hiring a mechanic at the end of today at 2 o'clock today for the end of the middle. So we'll see if there's anybody that comes up. And that's based off of seniority. So nobody has been decided to they want to take that. It's a great position. It's a great way. Union agreed to the new assistant maintenance one floater position. Thank you for finding out. Semi has been purchased.
Where did that contract? We need to have get it back to you.
Perfect. Semi has been purchased. The semi is now in the hands of Winneshiek County secondary roads. Yeah, a lot of people want that the new rig, so it's very nice. Glad I actually looked at it.
And the old one is going up for auction.
We'll be doing that for auction.
What's the estimated value?
Not much.
$5. I mean, what are the tires and metal are worth? I don't know. But I don't want to. Maybe a little bit more than that, but that's kind of where we're at on there. The engineer's office is working with vendors to spec a new maintainer for purchasing the fiscal year 2027. We're talking to the vendors. We should have it early in the fiscal year at the latest, based on lag times, and then I moved it. I met with the mechanics and John Newman on Tuesday of last week. Just kind of talking about where it is we want, some of the new things that are there. So had that meeting, there was a Steve County meeting that I don't know who attended with the on the board. I missed that one. Wrong.
It was it.
It's in Fayette County.
Fayette County is really good.
Yeah.
What's good? You've seen the driveway, document that Joel put together, pretty sure.
You had sent me a text and I never took it back to it. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I think you've already seen
And
it.
I've seen Joel put up right away. Discussions before, so I am aware of it, so I'll have to look.
Yeah.
I've just
Hiding.
forgotten to go back to that.
Yeah, I think-
Recently.
I'd be interesting to see what you think is, how that will affect, and if that's positive for your department.
Yeah, I have to get my head wrapped around. I'll probably have some questions for Joel on that. It's been kind of, a lot of pushing papers around here. So let me get back to you on that, Steve. The engineer and technician attended the DOT federal aid refresher seminar on Thursday. So I was gone all day that day as well. That was just a refresher. Not a whole lot to report there. The one notable is that one day instead of 2 days is how the DOT is doing it for people going to their typical federal aid seminar. So that's kind of a nice thing that we've only spent one day doing that. And then project in Quarry Hill. We have worked with the city. The city's brought it up in front of their board to discuss. Right now, the way the skeleton of the agreement is that we intend to present this with the city and to Brewings. The county will buy everything and then get reimbursed from Brewings, and the city just do the county itself instead of having the swaps go directly from the landowner to. It's complicated thing in multiple lots, so the county's just going to buy, quote unquote, buy everything and then go out the right of way after we establish that purchase is the idea. So before that happens, memorandum of understanding will be presented and it'll be signed by all the parties ahead of time before anything is purchased.
Do you have a map we can see? That shows exactly what that's gonna look like when this is done?
I do. It's not with me. It's but it's not gonna. One of the things is because it's a memorandum of understanding, we don't have a set right of way yet because it depends on what gets cut out of the hill, and that's going to dictate perhaps a change in what our first best guess is for that right of way.
But you have a map in your office that
I
I
do,
can see
yes.
that shows what they hope to do.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have all of the documents ready to go, assuming that what we think will be cut out is cut out. So we have all of that in the office if you'd like to come back after the.
So if there's rock cut out and we own it, do we own the rock?
The memorandum of understanding is going to state that the rock cut out is going to be Brewings. That was kind of the original discussion with Brewings. So that is not how this agreement was originally drafted out. So
Basically, it's their rock.
it's their rock now.
We're only having right of way. We don't.
We're trying to get it right away. That's a very dangerous S-curve, and yeah, and it's just what we're trying to do is just make it safer.
Yeah.
That's
We
our
probably
interest.
do. We don't even own any of the land there. We just have right of way.
Right, it's all
City and.
easement, yep. Yeah, and it's right now, the road as traveled is left it so that people actually end up parking on Birding's property and not the city property, and this straightens that out for the city. It gets, Birding compensated for that land. And it gets us a straighter road, so.
I'm up there all the time. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
I want to see how it's gonna look when it's done.
It looks, yeah, we'll
Thank you.
just come on into the office.
Nice gentle curve.
It's still be a nice curve, but it won't S curve. It'll just be one curve. With plenty of sight distance. And then, I handed out, the amended 2026, budget and the fiscal 2027 budget drafts, for review. And I'm willing to take questions on those. And maybe before I'm just going through this, Bridge 126 bids. We'll have to finish, we can't leave without that business too, so.
I was gonna say, let's do that.
Yeah, so the Bridge 126, that's the bridge north of Highlandville. We got a fantastic, letting, we came in within 1%, of our engineers, opinion of probable cost. And, I recommend that we do the project, so.
Who, has the bid?
The bid was awarded to Brennan's.
This is the culvert bridge.
Yes, this is the bridge.
Double box.
It's double box, yes. So, yeah, forgetting the size off the top of my head right now. I haven't been so long since I looked at the plans, but yeah, it's a double box. It's a large double box. This is the one where we worked with the DNR and the Army Corps of Engineers to mitigate stream bed in-house. So this awarding this allows us to continue that so that we don't have to build a large bridge and change right away and do a whole bunch of maneuvering that way.
How many bids were received?
2. And both of them were relatively close. K Construction came in at $485,432.50. And then the winner was Brennan's at $468,505. So our estimate was for $482,283. So that's excellent bids. Okay, so I'll start out with what our original was. Our original was $482,283. Brennan's won with $468,505. And then K Construction was a losing bidder at $485,432.
Thank you.
Take action on
Bidding. Motion to approve the contract with Brendan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award the contract to Bridge 126 to Brennan Construction for $468,505. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
I need to get the resolution. Is that a resolution that I need to get, Ben?
That's usually what you do.
Yeah, I'll get that resolution paperwork.
We'll start that right away this spring.
Again, I haven't looked at the plans. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get these budget papers out and I had printer malfunction. Sorry.
The bridge is currently closed.
No, this is not, this bridge is open.
It's okay.
Okay, this the bridge 320, the Pleasant View Bridge is
Yeah.
closed. And then the bridge 307 is also closed. This one's still open. But the,
Is it a bridge right now?
it is, and we can't recreate that bridge based off of new design.
Pre-scrap metal.
Yeah, and it's the piers are use a metal that they're using a thin bearing that the inspectors don't like. So
How long is it?
it's a 28-foot, I think, span.
Is it something that can be used on the trail?
This is not anything that's real architectural, so I'd say probably not. So if you haven't, I mean, if you'd like to go look at it and say, hey, let's make this work, I'm more than
No, it's cheaper than building it.
maybe, but this is the issue with this one is it's pier, the bearings on the pier are not sufficient. So yes, all right, so I guess turning to budget. We're talking 2027 budget. Couple of highlights mentioned in the past. If you look at the second page under proposed expenditures, you'll see county auditor's balance of $1.4 million as a carryover balance. That is that's above between 15 and 20% of the total budget for the year, and that's getting closer to what the DOT recommends for 20% carryover balance minimum. So I'm looking to meet the DOT guidelines as a long-term sitting balance. One of the things I spent a little bit more money on was rock. If you look at 461, you'll notice that I've upped the rock budget substantially. And the idea here is that we're putting more rock on the road this year, and then I have a project where I'm going to try to use a ice control for the following year, so it would be fiscal 28 when this would happen, but use some of the ice control in a base stabilization, mix it up ourselves, and apply it with leftover ice control rock. So it's going to be kind of a pilot program that I'm working on right now. So that budget would cover that ice control pile plus additional rock.
What is stabilized brand?
That would be that would be like the permazyme and chloride and things like that. So
So the iron rock project, you're gonna use chloride, not herbicide.
correct. I'm not thinking that we're going to use permazyme anytime in the future.
That's how you did a trial project.
I-
You did it once, and we aren't gonna do it again.
So yeah. I think that other counties have had success, which is unfortunate for us. So, talking with them, I still don't know exactly what happened, but in any event, we have to move on.
Didn't turn out like.
I mean, it did not, well, again, it'll probably set pretty hard, but you can't have the temporary malaise that we had.
Yeah.
Um, Just a couple other things of note, just on the administrative and engineering, I know the 900,000 looks high in the fiscal 27. But if you go back to your amended 26, we're at the same spot we were in 2022, 2023. So I think that if anyone's alarmed at that I will point that out.
On item number 593, pavement markings is up.
Yeah, so
Tell me
590,
more about that.
so 593, couple of things. So if you notice, we didn't spend any money on 2024, 2025. We didn't strike anything that year. And then the following year, we just did 1/4 of the fog line and then half of the center lines. And we had a pretty good price. I'm looking at the lines and knowing the prices of what we've been quoted on for supplementary projects. I don't think we can get $165,000 bid. So that $200,000 has a little bit of fat for a higher price. And then also, if we get a good price, I might just have half the county get fog lines painted. So
it's a minimum of doing the other half of the center lines and then 1/4 of the fog line.
correct.
Price is coming well, you would do 2/4, so half.
Yep. And so I'm just trying to kind of figure out what that looks like. So just putting a bigger number there to give me flexibility.
And then on snow and ice control, you lowered that number 524. You lowered that based on 2 prior years.
Yeah, I'm looking at, again, this is a crapshoot. I mean, this number has been 400,000 in the past, well over 400,000, but the previous 2 years, we were at, we had 253,000, at 164,000. I wanted to be higher than those. This year we've done a lot of weekend work, not always do snowstorms happen on the weekend. So it's kind of been a higher cost for us there. So kind of it's the best guess.
And for the public's knowledge, you'll be putting on another $500,000 worth of rock extra that we did last year.
What's that?
I say for the rock, granular rock put on, we'll be putting on another $500,000 more than we did last year.
That's correct.
Public's knowledge.
Which was $500,000 more than the year before.
Yeah. Yeah, because 3 years ago, it's $1 million more than it was the year before, or 2 years ago. So it's half, yeah.
Do you have budgeted in there for the new shop at Locust?
I don't have it. The idea of the local shop, I mean, this has just been discussions through multiple people, is if we get the county building sold, if those funds perhaps come to our way for as a capital improvement, I would apply those to the local shop. So that's the idea there. That being said, plans, we need to start planning on getting that shop swapped out. If for some reason it doesn't happen, or if it takes longer than necessary, we need to look at that for, if not 2027, fiscal 2027.
The price is gonna keep going up.
Fiscal 2028.
Do you think with your crew that you have the ability to petition some of your crew out that have construction skills like either Fayette or Howard County did?
Well, I would be looking at Howard County as a model. We went to the Schley shop a year and a half ago. And that would be the model that I would go after. I talked to a couple of the crew members. There's not a lot of interest in doing the carpentry work, so I think it'll be a little bit more limited than what Howard County had. It's not a dedicated inquiry. It's just kind of talking to a couple of crew members.
What do you anticipate the cost to be?
Well, Howard County Schley shop, I think was $280,000. It's a smaller shop than what I want for Locust. It doesn't have in-floor heat. Be something that I'd want to put in, I think. So just if I'm doing nice round numbers, 500,000. So $500,000.
You just won't get the same ones that Fayette County had to build that second new shop.
Well, they had an architect and I'll do my best architectural skills, but they hired out an architect and had federal money go towards it, so we won't have that luxury.
And frozen pipes and everything.
They did.
You know, the nice new shop when we attended the 6 county
Yeah,
meetings.
they had frozen
It
pipes.
takes less to heat that building than this other one they just built.
Yeah.
And that's the one where they have no issues.
Really? Yeah. I'm not aware of that.
So this 2027 budget, you won't actually sign and approve until after your budget hearing in April. So this is just so we know what to put into the budget.
And I'm not saying we should, but consolidating shops, is there any benefit to cutting down on the number of shops we have?
I haven't really explored what that would look like. I know that having people close to where they're operating has been a benefit.
We've actually added, like, improved the shop up at Kendallville.
Right
To try to get the machines closer to where they're working, so they aren't driving back.
Yeah,
Spending so much time driving to and from work sites.
that's the big thing is the maintainers. I mean, we have the Castalia shop, and sometimes there's a maintainer that hangs out there, but I mean, that would be. I have not looked into that, no.
Do the maintainers, the blades we have fit in the current Locust shop?
It's a tight fit.
I dropped their side blades. And so on.
Everything's tight up there. So, I wonder if a new maintainer, 2 or 3 years down the road, actually would not fit in there.
We had looked into a few years back that when the North Wind was selling, when the school district was selling the North Wind building, about getting their bus garage area as a shop location, but other than building a new one, but they didn't want to split that off.
And you're heading west. The problem is the northeast corner.
Yeah.
That's really where, I mean, that local shop really wants to be farther east.
Yeah.
So.
But if you needed to, selling the Castelia shop might.
I mean, that
Then
would be the
Give
first
it-
one. I'm just talking off the cuff.
put
so-
it, just basically, maybe as an option to add back in.
Yeah, I don't know what the desire, I mean, there's fuel right there. I mean, so it's nice to have that, be able to, fill up. When you're in a snow event there. I haven't run any costs on what it costs us to keep that. But I can tell you that there's a couple nice things that happen out of that Castelia shop. Is that worth keeping? I'd have to dedicate a little bit more brain power than I've done.
People have talked about counties in the future having to share facilities and equipment and things. I don't know if there's any benefits. Looking long term.
I'm gonna just state that it's sharing maintainers, let's say with Albuquerque County or something like that. I mean, they're already, the pinch point is the level of service in a snow event. That is the pinch point for any county and the blades are a prime example. So even if we were sharing,
We'd share like that pile driver or that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
kind of
more like
equipment that-
shop facilities. Is there something that would be more advantageous to?
well, then you get one of if something breaks, if somebody that owns some other county jurisdiction, is that covered by insurance? I mean, you get all kinds of like, just, it would be, I mean, I'm sure it could happen, but I don't know.
I would think if you want to share things, you would be sharing construction type equipment that you schedule and use in the summer, not the equipment that you're using to respond to them.
It would be
Road
a
graders and
driver,
snowplow
it'd be
trucks.
things like paver, it'd be things like a shouldering machine.
Yeah.
It's things like that, you could,
You get it this week and we get it this week and we get it this week, not something that you're responding to a weather event.
Yeah, and so we're looking at sharing a mastic machine with the city of Decorah. I mean, things like that would be a lot easier to, like one-time use. Oh, you had it here. That's a lot easier to deal with, but as far as trying to, there's talk of kind of consolidation with different counties and everything else. I mean, we're still gonna need.
You need X many graders, you need X many snow plows. I
Yeah,
mean,
for the level of service that the public expects, it is what it is. And it really comes down to how you meet that demand. How do you meet that demand and then also keep those guys busy? I mean, that's where.
The old DHS building used to be a DOT office. Shirley knows. And they had offices all over the place, but when they consolidated their staff positions, they didn't get rid of the shops. They still have just as many shops. They just didn't have as many other staff people spread.
high-end people, they got rid of the top.
Because they still need the equipment where you need to
Well,
use it.
and that's in some of that equipment, everybody wants to use it at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I was just thinking, long term, you say what the public expects, but what they expect and what we can afford to give them might be a different scenario.
Yeah.
So,
That is
at
true.
at some point in time, maybe it is another half day till they get plowed up or gravelled or, I mean, I'm not saying I'm just looking at the way the
100%.
state budgets and our budget is going at some point in time.
We're getting.
We're gonna have to share and we're gonna have to.
I mean, I guess there's some outside of the box counties, Mitchell and Worth County have the same engineer, I'm forgetting his name right now. But they have fewer pieces of equipment and then they don't have any techs that I'm aware of. Things like that, but then, you have to get a consultant.
They spend a lot more money on outside engineering design than you do in-house.
Right, and I don't know their hierarchy, so I'm speaking on a little bit of just what I've heard and rumored, but it's not, that's not a solution that is a slam dunk either. So, I mean, yeah, the idea here is, I mean, I've talked, saying, hey, can we get by with 11 blades? That's, I mean, nobody wants to do that, but, to your point.
Yep. Gonna have,
If the level of service, if we keep pinching, the level of service goes down. That's, it would be a blade in the truck, and then what does it become after that? I don't know.
Because according to the public, we're still not giving them the level of service they want because we need more rock, we need to maintain a road, we need the hard surface roads, we need to resurface roads. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what can you do for me. I mean, that's a lot of the public. So I try to set the expectations that, hey, we'll get to this. It's not, but everything has got to be in an orderly fashion. It's just, that's how the state trying to run it as efficiently as it can.
yeah.
Your average taxpayer doesn't understand how everything works, and that's why.
Yeah, I think that you just gotta, just deal with the blowback a little bit, but I think that's
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
I say that a lot. But get paid the big bucks so I can hear you yell.
No,
No, I think that's part of the negotiation. If there's a problem, don't be afraid to call in, but try to understand that everything I'm trying to do, whether it be this base stabilization, the whole point of it is so that we don't have to spend $2.5 million on rock for every year, or if we spend $2.5 million, that's as much as we overspend. That kind of thing, trying to make that rock go along the way.
And that's why we're not 100% locked into a 5-year plan. They have to understand that that's why there is a 5-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
So we can figure.
Yeah, I mean,
going forward.
I just got an email on W14 north of Ridgeway, and that's just 2 weeks ago, I think, when I started talking with the techs and this STBG Upper Explorerland funding. I'm earmarking that north project for that project. We're probably it's gonna be a lot like W14, where the county is gonna have to put in quite a bit of local money, because we have to rip everything out, pulverize the concrete that's in there, relay everything, put all new culverts and bridges in it. I mean, that's a big project.
You're gonna tile that, put drain tile in there.
It's a bit, we're subdraining that. I mean, it's a big project.
and what's the traffic count on that road?
I think it's.
Well, it ain't nothing now because nobody drives on it.
Well,
Cause you bust your equipment up.
But it is.
Well, maybe it's just grind it and make it gravel.
That would be an option. It's gotta be looked at, but it's 300 vehicle per day.
Yeah.
And that to your point, we have other gravels that have that kind of traffic.
The traffic's way less than what it would be because nobody drives it because you're busting equipment up. And,
but that's one of that's a huge project.
Yeah.
And so we get funds for that because that's considered a major collector. And so if we were to make that gravel, we'd be making a major collector of gravel, which is kind of very on that.
We'd probably lose funding for that. That's
I don't know if we would or not, but it's definitely not something. It would not be. It would be something that you would have to be able to take the blowback on. So
I'm not saying we should, it's just. Those are options.
100%. That has.
It would be better if we, in the meantime, just.
The price tag we're talking about,
Gravel
that
part.
has to be considered. So.
Do we have a budget amendment?
I have a budget amendment just for your eyes, for your information. Because I did that because for the 2027 budget, what you'll see is fiscal 26. The current budget, the numbers don't line up to make that 1.4 million county auditor balance work. So what is it?
This column here, not the budget column for 27, the current year column is actually the amended numbers that are in this this handout.
Oh,
There, so he's already put the budget amendment in here when proposing his 27 budget. He will have to approve this eventually, maybe the next week.
Yeah, well,
We're running out of time because we have this upper Explorerland.
And- and then the 2026 amendment might be amended again at the end of April, but this would be to get it into the DOT's system.
Mentioned the candidates on the 1 page or 200,000 for the roadside.
Yeah.
And that, I just put it in as a lump sum of 200,000. He splits it up between paying the summer mower and the any equipment he needs for road.
Is that enough in there?
We don't have a lot of extra little funds, so he thought he could
Oh,
get by
okay.
with that
Yeah, he's
again.
gonna, okay.
So,
Yeah, and we're fine on that budget. We have a little bit of carryover, and possibly it wouldn't be a boom mower, but it'd be something to start cutting that brush,
Oh, okay.
perhaps, is what I'm looking at. But I have to get, well, the floater position and mechanics and superintendent all on the same page before I do any of that, and then also roadside. So,
Roman said he was buying a rotary head to use on brush.
yeah, we have a rotary head that cracked, and we're not happy with that. It cracked within the first 4 or 5 days of it being operated this year, so.
Under
What the
warranty.
company saying?
Yeah, so, yeah, it's under warranty, it's being negotiated right now. So.
What'd they say about it?
I mean, right, they haven't said a whole lot. So it's like I said, it's under negotiation that happened in December, when we first started going, and I haven't touched that in probably 3 weeks, so. Lenny and Darren are working on that.
do we need a motion for that budget amendment?
well, we'll put it on next week.
They put the amendment on next week, and then the 2027 budget that'll be approved in April. So.
We, last week, some things. Do like the supplemental, that happen along the roadways, right of ways.
It's in the rural fund, that's what that 200,000.
200,000.
Can't put that in supplemental, that's rural. That's where he pays his summer mowers and equipment for roadside.
See beyond what we can get out of the other grant opportunities. Spray.
Anyone have anything else for Mike? Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is miscellaneous items, resolution for full-time county attorney.
You've had a chance to look this over. I think you were kind of in agreement on the wording, except you need to fill in the blank on the salary.
Yeah.
I think Andy gave us an estimate on what he thought we'd have to offer at some point.
Put on that amount.
Best judge is Andy in my mind. He knows the business better than we do.
So you guys get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting paid the big bucks there.
I am. In the range I gave you, I think it's probably fair from what I expect you're gonna be getting. It says find somebody with years and years of experience doing this, and you know, the thing is, you start that first year at whatever level where you can negotiate, because then multiple classes and you think should receive more than what you put into this. But, you know, the following year, we see nothing. I mean, this would be, given the size of our county, population wise, given that, you know, comparing it to other county terms, it would be at the starting end. I think that's what we have.
So the state average was 132 or something.
I think what I gave was 115, 120, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, you're the new man, and you have the ability to change. that.
Negotiate, yeah.
The average age was 8.8 years.
I think the state average is 140.
Hmm.
I'm looking at the right thing.
There's a median and there's the average.
1.1.
Yeah, your average includes Loon County and Polk County. And
Yeah.
some of
Yeah, you
those.
take them top 10 counties out, it changes in a hurry,
You can't take those.
changes in a big hurry, everything. does.
Yeah, I don't know if there's that, yeah, I don't know if that's the correct number, I think.
Yeah.
You know, looking for last start. This person in this office will bring in. She's looking at it. Here's what I think. Good discussion at that time. I think it's important to at least get, to get whoever's thinking about what for what this is gonna look like.
Because part of the question comes in too, are we gonna expect the county attorney to do the HR?
Yeah,
Well, then the number has to be higher. Can we set a wage for just the county attorney, and then if they would accept the HR duties?
They might, if they're gonna
Stipend,
do the
huh?
HR duties, it probably won't include more assistant county attorney time, so that would be separate budget. And I did put in the first run to still have 2 assistants, because that's for the first 6 months of the next fiscal year, we will still have 2 assistants, and I didn't know how it's gonna turn out.
oh, yeah.
So I have in there full-time county attorney and 2 assistants for the whole year, even though that might change come January.
And that, having that in there will also have funds available then to adjust the county attorney for part-time. You know, so I mean, I think, I don't know if you're looking at maybe what could change in January, in the overall budget. I would, it is going to be difficult for anyone stepping in to cover the criminal, juvenile, and civil work without the HR. With the HR, that person, in my view, would need at least a full-time and a part-time assistant. And quite honestly, even at that, someone who is specifically doing HR work is going to serve the county better in the long run than trying to cover it, because I'm sorry, we have deadlines in the civil side of things, and we have things we need to do for HR that we try to get done. But ultimately, the third floor of the courthouse has deadlines that if we don't meet, cases get dismissed, charges get dropped, stuff like that, and that frankly has to take priority. And, for a variety of reasons, I think the county is someone who specializes in HR and uses the county attorney's office as a resource to help them. In the long term, it's going to serve the county better. And I know it's going to cost the county some money, but it's a necessary evil, I think, at this point.
You made a statement sometime in the past, Andy, that I recall that you find that a lot of the employees have a real stigma about coming to the county attorney's office for
And I
HR
don't get
issues.
that, Steve. I mean, I'm happy to talk to people. I just don't get it. But
It's not that you aren't a pleasant person. It's
But
just-
it is, but I think there's some truth to that. We've experienced that over the years that people are, I think, would be more comfortable talking to an HR director perhaps than coming.
If you have an HR
talking to an
director
attorney.
as a separate person, you would recommend having them under the county attorney's office or under the county auditor's office. You just have it be a whole separate department
They
under the
would be
board.
correct. And I think that, you know, that's one more person the county attorney can advise. That's somebody. And if you keep it separate, you know, if there is an investigation of some sort that requires some interviewing to be done, keeping that separated is going to be more beneficial for fact finding in the long run. The other thing that I tried to point out, maybe I've discussed with a couple of you, but you know, come January 1, assuming you find space for the county attorney here, there's roughly $2,000 a month in rent savings that is available. I think too that the assistant's position, if you have, I did not do the math on this, I apologize, but if you're paying somebody $120,000 and that assistant is making 85% of that, that should reduce the overall assistant salaries that we have currently for 2 part-time. You know, taking those funds and putting them toward the HR director won't pay the salary, but it's at least something that will put it, maybe make it more manageable in the long run.
Do you want to act on this today with a number, or do you want to put it off yet another week?
120 is the number that's kind of stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I would
On a
be
motion?
in favor of having more than that, just based on, you want to get somebody that's qualified. When you look at what the averages are, I mean, what people are making in counties similar to us, that's probably low, but
Yeah, I'm just going
you know, I
by,
suppose we can open it back up if nobody applies,
yeah, I was,
but I don't.
I think
my,
it's low.
my estimate was just kind of based on what Andy was saying, the upper end of what Andy's recommendation was.
What was your recommendation again?
115, 120, somewhere in there.
I was gonna say 115, but I'd go.
120. Yeah.
And Mark, I think if you look at those higher numbers, you're probably looking at people who have been in office for
2.5 years. Or, well, yeah, but the one I looked at was 2.5 years.
And I, you know, if you go higher on that side, I certainly have no problem with that. I just, I know that, I know the budgets are.
Have a motion to
I'd
adopt
make
the
a motion
resolution.
for 120.
I'll second.
And so the motion is to adopt the resolution with 120 in there. Yep.
We're approaching a filing deadline too.
How does that look throughout the year? Can that be amended if nobody will run for election because we,
No, you're
Lowball
setting
this
this now. And it would, next year at this time, when you're doing the budget, you can,
Change it.
you could negotiate with whoever it is to have a different amounts for July 1, 2027. But this is, the action is to set the county attorney's salary now. And it's only the first 6 months that this would apply, because they wouldn't start till July or January 1.
because it's only the first 6 months and we can do this for that next fiscal year, I'd be, yeah,
120.
I'm comfortable.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution for the full-time county attorney with a wage set at $120,000 a year. So here's a resolution. We'll start with you, Mark.
Aye.
Shirley?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I also passes unanimously.
And a full-time cannot have private practice. Right.
You have any other thing for us, Andy?
I do not.
Okay. So you have anything for Andy?
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Andy.
right, thank you.
You're sure welcome to stay for the strategic planning session.
There's some strategic planning of my own to do.
You might have there might be some.
Exit strategy.
Next up, we have the recycling education grant application.
Yep, this is the recycling grant filled out by Jeff and Evan. That's through the landfill. And they just need to, they used to be able to just do it on their own, but now they need a board approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the recycling education grant application. Is there any further discussion? If none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. This is unanimous. Next, we have accept and file the Explorerland annual audit.
I emailed this out so you could review it. It's just one of those that they're required to file a copy with us, so.
And there were no issues with that audit. So I would move to approve the annual audit for UERPC.
Second that.
Motion and a second to accept and file the Upper Explorerland annual audit. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
Fill that out.
Probably gonna need a little bit more time to go over the first run.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, okay.
You should move that down.
Education.
Yeah.
Okay, it is 10:30. We have the Upper Explorerland Regional Planning Commission, strategic planning goal setting.
Hello.
Hi, we did want to ask, did you invite, department head and staff to also be here? We
Yeah.
want their participation. Okay, so is there anyone you want to wait for, or that?
I don't know if anybody.
I don't know if anyone's coming, so.
Okay. Well, we'll work with you then, so, I think.
Come on up.
Guys, can I-
So we're gonna use the tables and do some work with you guys. I think, and we're gonna have the screens too that we're looking at. So I think this might be a fine organization.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna throw some stuff up. I don't know if you're able to push your stuff aside at all. Or. Yes, push your stuff aside. The best you can.
Well, I was gonna say, because,
Yeah.
you know, if we don't have a lot of staff members, then.
If you have Sean.
Yeah, and I didn't know if anyone else was coming, but, we could kind of just like throw off as like twos or something. Yeah, because normally we try to mix up, you know, elected officials with some staff members to do some smaller group discussion. But, we'll work with what we've got here. Is there a way to plug in?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
Quick question is procedurally. 10:30, you're on the agenda for 10:30. So when we're done working with you guys, and I'm asking Ben and the chair of the board, we will go on to budget discussion and everything after this session.
So on, because we haven't done
Right.
those things.
And then I would say that going into the future, as a board member, I'm disappointed we don't have more department heads here. And I hope that as we go through this process, we're more intent and more intentional in having them attend. And I'm sorry, more aren't here.
I was gonna say too, if you would prefer, we can try to reschedule this and make sure there's more folks in attendance. It's up to you guys. You know, as it stands now, you'd still get good group, you know, discussion of individual supervisors talking, you know, with Sean, Ben. Maybe we would just do like 2 groups rather than, you know, but that is up to you guys, because it's like, that's valuable input. So and they did participate in the survey, and we've got the survey summary. So that information is captured, but
I just really, I feel badly that we don't have more here other than Sean. I'm not surprised you're here, Sean. Thank you for being here. Moving forward, I think we need to be way more intentional in getting more people here.
And usually we rely on you guys to help ensure that they're getting to the meetings, so.
I
you
sent
need-
out I sent out a couple of reminders, but
I suppose they believe they gave your input with the surveys.
Unless you wanted more from us, we could certainly
yeah, well,
dig in further on.
I was
it.
gonna
I
say
think we can take some of the blame. Some of the energy on this, we need to hold and we need to follow through on. So I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. So would you guys like to?
we're happy to.
Sean?
Yeah. we're
Just a
happy to-
suggestion, I don't know how long they're on the agenda for today. And
could be a couple hours.
I don't think you're gonna need that today with just me in here, but one suggestion might be you guys are the governing board. Maybe you guys have a brainstorming session today while we're here. And then, that might be a half hour or whatever that looks like. And then we take your suggestion about trying to get the department heads engaged at the next one with you guys having kind of the overarching goalposts for us to stay between. Does that make sense?
Well, as far as our contract, we did have the one
One meeting.
discussion, yeah. That's the only catch on that one. But we are happy to reschedule and we can talk further about how we might take team with you guys to.
And maybe rather than just me sending a reminder, having one Upper Explorerland send a reminder on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. We had to reschedule because there was minimal attendance, yeah.
Attendance is required.
And just in the
Yeah, I
interest
would
of
be-
transparency and involvement, I would
Just
feel
doing it
better about
once, we-
rescheduling and I'm so sorry.
That's okay, I would encourage that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I.
So I think Ben's idea, if you would please send out a notice and Mr. Chairman, would it be appropriate to say a required attendance?
I don't know if we can require,
Require it, but
strongly recommend.
recommend it.
Strongly recommend, so we don't have to reschedule.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I say, like,
Appreciated.
we don't have any control over staff, so that's why we kind of rely on you guys to.
Well, we could offer to bring donuts.
Yeah.
I thank you for going to reschedule.
With lunch, maybe you want to do it a day when you provide pizza or something.
Let's look at those options. And also it's so much more empowering to our department heads and staff to have that involvement.
Exactly.
They know their departments, they know the county and way better than the five of us do.
Yeah,
So I
that is.
really think they need to be here.
You want to, what kind of date, timeframe, do you want to try to do it next week already, or? The 16th is President's Day, and I think we'll have some people who will be gone that day. I mean, it's kind of open.
Yeah, schools are closed, I think that.
And the 23rd is, there's a safety meeting at 1, so I don't know if we want to try to get it in between.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah. So either we do it next week or we put it off a month, or.
You just want to coordinate a date and time?
Yeah, we can just work with Ben and find a good date and
They can look at their schedule.
something.
I mean, are you willing to do a different day of the week? If a Monday doesn't work, do you want to do a different day of the week, or?
That's probably better.
That might work.
If there's a particular day that is less busy for staff or something.
Yeah, well, I think midweek you might get some people who are less busy, could do like a Wednesday or Thursday, and maybe we could, like I said, if we don't do lunch, we could do breakfast pizza or something, if we're gonna do it in the morning or whatever.
Guess I'll do it in the morning right
Yeah,
away.
do it in the morning right away.
Rather than halfway through the day, everybody.
I like the breakfast pizza.
That might,
That goes a long
Like
way.
an 8:30 deal or something.
And because we're all here, is it still an open meeting?
it'll still be an open meeting.
Open meeting.
I'll coordinate.
That sounds good. Yeah, we
Yeah, we'll
appreciate
do
that.
If you're understanding.
No,
yes, and we're fairly open in the next month or two, so.
Yeah, we'll.
Okay.
Tom, thank you.
Worries. Easiest meeting of the day.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go back up to the first run of FY27 budget.
It ain't on the agenda. It ain't on.
I could pair it as a committee.
You ready to do budget things, or did you have a committee report you wanted to go through?
I
Or?
just wanted to, it's not an item we're taking action on, but Sean is here. So I would just like to take this opportunity personally to congratulate you on the grant, awarded grant with you and Kristen Egan. That's, thank you for that work.
She did 100% of the work, so she
Do
deserves.
you want to speak to it just briefly what it is?
So the
Thanks, you guys.
Energy District reached out a while back and wanted to know if there was a way she could partner, or they could partner with emergency management. They wrote a grant and we found out on Friday that they were awarded it for a portable solar powered generator. So it's a pretty nice asset to have for the county. So I'm excited once that all the red tape gets done and we can get that here to have. So
At this site, you're talking about the courthouse.
no, this is just a portable.
Well, it's for anywhere.
Anywhere.
Okay,
Anywhere
that's a good idea, yeah.
Yep.
The city is
Solar.
holding it.
Yeah. As far as your project here, Decor Electric has, they're in the final steps of getting the estimate for that, so I'll get that to you guys as soon as I see it.
Okay.
It's probably not gonna be a cheap project for the courthouse, but just so you guys are aware.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a
Congrats
great
again.
day.
Keep your eyes open for anything that would fit for that and any grants that we could try to go after.
Thanks, Sean.
Before we do the budget, let's clean up the consent agenda.
Yep, consent, I've got minutes and I've got liquor licenses for Our Lady of $7 Church Asina and Bluffton Campground and Bar. And I've got the accept and file the sheriff's quarterly report.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Committee reports.
I've got a committee report from Northeast Iowa Community Action. They're starting their campaign for 2026 with a goal of $100,000. Right now, we get about $65,000 a year in campaign contributions. So it's a lofty goal, but I think we can meet it. This is the report from their January dashboard. It's always fun to see where the funds for community action are going. They had 4,566 passengers getting where they needed to go. Wrapping up December with 39,601 miles. And then this is emergency needs met in each county. Fayette is the orange one. Winneshiek is this black one up here. So, you know, community action does a lot of great work for this region, and I can't speak highly enough of the professionals down there who are making all of that happen. So that is that. And 6-county meeting was wonderful. It was really enlightening, and we had good conversations. They do a good job down there.
I had a Hawk meeting last Monday. Things are going well with the transition. We're advertising now for a new director position for that. It's still, you know, they're trying to split off ECI from the DCAT and other areas. So whatever. And then we had our first judicial meeting on Friday, and nothing unusual with that. So I'm
And you have a lot
still
of,
tangled up in a bit of the reorganization of.
you guys have a lot of these other committees you work on. Are there certain days, like when we're rescheduling this, like Wednesdays or Thursdays, that only you have other meetings coming
I
up?
wouldn't do it Thursday because that tends to be a row.
Maybe like a Wednesday.
I think
morning.
Yeah.
Wednesdays usually are good.
If you have any, you look at your calendars and you have any Wednesdays over the next month, basically, that you can't do it in the morning, let me know, so we don't pick that one. That
VA
one.
needs what?
For the evening.
No, VA
VA
meetings are on
10,
Wednesday.
yeah, I'll make
and
sure to avoid
so
that.
avoid that one.
And ISAC conference is March 11, 12, 13, so don't do March 11, because 3 of us will be gone. And the 25th of March is the ISAC visit that afternoon, so that would kind of make a busy day for everybody. So I would take out March 11 and March 25.
Any other reports? There are none, so we will go back to the budget.
Okay. I'm gonna start with the one that's 48. So this is one of the last, this is the last individual department handout, so it's one of these, and it's a department 48. So this is where we put basically non-specific department expenses and revenues. So this is where almost all of your payments to organizations are in this one. You can see on that first page there at the top, that was the legal defense things that we spent about 14 grand in the current year on that one. So nothing budgeted for next year in that. So then you go down, some of these are like Northeast Iowa Task Force is a payment to an organization that we're members of. That's the annual membership. And there's a few others that are kind of like that. But then your big one there on the first page, 3/4 of the way down, under emergency management, you can see you're going down from 1.887 to 1.053, so 830,000 less to emergency management. That's that
The tower payment.
power project. So it was 900,000. You're taking out, they are requesting a little increase, so at 830 is what you're getting back out of that. You can see what we actually spent for this year was only 1.713 because we designated the remainder of our ARPA money to pay for the tower project. So that actually offsets some of what we're through. And it's your payments to organizations, EMS, hazmat. That's where we put some money in case there's ever a hazmat spill, because we have to be able to pay for the cleanup and then go through our contract with the Blackhawk County. So we'll need to have some initial money to start making payments for cleanup. So we just put some money in there each year.
Fortunately, we haven't had to use it.
Never had to use it. We did have a spill. That's been 15, 20 years ago in a Ford rail car. Yeah. And that was before that's when this started, because there was no money. Nobody had any money to pay for the initial cleanup. And Blackhawk County said they weren't going to foot all the bills and then have to get reimbursed for them. So now the counties, they rewrote the 2080 agreement. The counties have to foot the bills, and then if there's insurance money or private payments or something, that's usually where the reimbursements come from, but that can take several months. Grave markers, you can, on the next page, you can see the current year and next year is a little bit higher because you did increase the amount per grave that you give for veterans' graves in the different cemeteries. They provide a list of graves. Then there's more payments to organizations for the next rest of page 2. Page 3, the top of that page is that's the opioid fund. Not knowing exactly if we're gonna have any projects or not, I just put some money in there to spend if you do continue programs.
We're gonna meet this Friday, and I'll know more, because I know we're hearing 2 or 3 proposals for that on Friday.
And that doesn't actually have any effect on your tax portion of your budget that we do,
It's all
because it's all that separate fund.
separate fund.
But I did put some money in there, so you have some spending authority from the get-go, and if we need to amend it, we can, because there's plenty of money in that fund. Next, rest of that page is payments to organizations. That one's page 4 is payments to organizations. You see the 5,000 for the Decor Sports Complex. There's a new one. Rest of that's organizations. top of page 5, that one's still the fair. Township officials, this is what you pay the township trustees and clerks. They get, you just raised that
Yeah,
$5 or something per meeting.
yeah.
So I think I calculate that in actually for the current year. For an increase. I think we went from 15 to 20.
Back in 24, 25.
And I think there's current discussion at the state level on this too.
There's been some talk about whether to eliminate those and give those duties to the Board of Supervisors or as some counties, and I know Steve Vandenbrink has talked to you about before, establishing an emergency emergency services as a what's the term he used? There's a way to, the board declares it an essential service, and then the committee is formed, and then they ask for a levy, a bond, or a levy election in a November election to ask if they can impose a levy to pay for some of those services. Anyway, it might be something like that that the state will consider. There are counties that have gone through the process. You can, and they has to be approved on a township by township basis, but you can have the township officials be appointed rather than elected, but they still serve and they still get paid like this. So doesn't really make a difference in the budget end of it, but it's sometimes easier to find people because sometimes the ones that get elected.
While we're just talking about that, it's gonna be a little off base. But for the fence line disputes, that price tag is set by us. Is that correct?
No, they're set by each township can set their own.
Trustee does.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly, the person filing the dispute has to make a deposit. And then depending on how the outcome resolves, if it's something where each of the neighbors or each of the people are responsible, then that can pay off some of that deposit. And that can go towards it, but if either party, or the one that's the complainer already made a deposit, the one that's at the other side of it refuses to pay, it can ultimately get added to their property taxes, and which then Andy gets involved with the township officials to get all the paperwork.
Okay, I'll let you get back to the budget.
Yeah, that can get messy sometimes because, and I don't know how, I can see the state changing the law to how we're going to fund paying for fire departments and ambulances and stuff, because the board of supervisors can be involved in levying money to get those people paid and so on. But who's going to go out and view fence lines? I have no idea if they've taken that into consideration, because you still need somebody on the ground to do that.
And it's a little bit of taking local control away.
Yeah.
It's nice to have townships involved.
Yeah, that may or may not. I had a conversation with Clemish yesterday, and he was saying it's kind of a nebulous thing because people don't even know who their township trustees are.
Yeah.
We get that question quite a bit. We do publish it in that annual report booklet that we have on the web, and we have some printed out copies and so on. But sometimes we get asked. So we
Discussion with one of them, they had 6 hours invested and made $5 off it. So that's very good.
No. The next one, and I'll apologize, I actually upped this one, labor relations. I upped it to 25 after I had printed this out. That's so in the first run actually has 25 in that line. That's for the contracted services we get from our current labor contract. That's not separate HR type, but it's HR. Like Mark worked with that for that one that he had recently.
So you've already put it in the current numbers.
25. Yeah,
It's not on here.
it's on here for 20, and then afterwards I actually bumped it to 25 after I had printed this out.
The next one, that 300,000, that's the one-time payment from the supplemental fund to the health insurance fund that we would make beginning of next fiscal year to help get that balance up. 300,000, I think, is the minimum we want to make to keep that from looking up in a poor condition. I mean, we could consider putting more in there and not lowering the supplemental levy as much. So that's something to think about. But that's where that currently is in the first run. Those next one is the life insurance and critical illness that you buy for all the employees. That's the general fund employees, and then the next line is the on top of page 6 is the rural fund employees that get it. Employee assistance program also is for all employees. Next couple are for the county car, which fuel and repairs, mostly the individual departments that use it pay for the fuel usually, and then repairs we usually pay for oil changes or new tires or whatever.
That's the van that sits out there.
No, that's that silver car. The van
It
usually
hasn't been plowed around.
yeah.
Was
Van usually the IT department.
Yes, not plowed in.
Then we got the audit, actuarial opinion. Those are just things we do. The actuarial opinions in every other year thing we have to have hired done and have, they do an opinion of our post-employment benefits that creates entry in our annual audit. Cost advisory services, that's the company that looks at our costs of running the DHS to attribute the non-direct costs so we can get some of the money back from the state, help reimburse our costs of running that, and they guarantee that their cost for doing the report is never more than what we're going to get back from the state. So, you know, yeah.
Does our 2080 allow us to seek another county to house them?
I think you'd have to rewrite the 2080 if a different county housed them, but yeah. I mean, the 4 or 5 counties that are involved in our cluster are, that's what they originally called it, was the cluster counties. I suppose they call it regional counties or something. We would house them, and here's the 2080 and how much each.
Yeah, we pay 70 and they pay 30.
Yeah. So you'd have to rewrite the 2080 if you want someone else to house them. They're probably going to want the 70, or they're going to want more than the 30 probably.
That's less.
Well, then that seems fair for us to ask for more.
Yeah, you could, but you know, you open that up and who knows what will happen, and it would take 4 boards of supervisors getting together and hashing it out. So
Yeah, somebody else could house it too. That's.
at the time, I think the thinking was we'd rather have the people working here and they
Spending their
wanted-
money here.
spending their money here, and so they gave the other counties a beneficial arrangement.
For the 3 people that we have working in that office.
Back then, I think it was like 17 people, so
Spend $5 to make $1.
Yeah.
anyway. That's something to consider, I suppose. You'd have to get 4 counties together to.
Well, I think we should look at that. I don't know that it's as much of a benefit for us anymore to have
Yeah.
housed here.
I don't, yeah, it's cost us a lot of money.
Yeah, we could use that space right now.
We need that. We need that.
We need that space. That'd be perfect. Yeah, I mean, that would
So do we look at,
solve all. our
how do we go
problems.
about doing that?
Well, I think you'd have to, like your 6 county meeting, you'd have to get 4 counties together and set that up as an agenda item and discuss that.
The people of our community benefit from having it in our county too.
Yeah, but for what it cost us, for what, there's only 3 people in there in our house. It's a waste. That's, we could utilize that space way more. Way better than what they
And
are.
I think part of it was that the initial impetus was that rather than all 4 counties
Having one.
having an office, which is what the state requires, is that all the counties provide office space for their DHS people. Let's the 4 counties get together and do one office space, and we'll all provided together. I mean, if you can't make an agreement, if the current thing goes away, then all 4 counties just have to have their own office space.
Can we just renegotiate this agreement?
You
Keep it
could,
here.
you could, but once you open it up, you don't know that you're gonna get an agreement. And so if the other counties don't agree, you could end up that each county just has to have their own office.
Well, but our office would be significantly smaller if it's only
Could
for
be.
one county
Yeah.
use. I mean, we may have still the same 3 people, but we
I
don't
think
have to
that's
give
a
them
gamble
3,000
we should take.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
that's up to you, but it is a gamble.
We ain't out nothing.
No, because we're providing any.
Yeah. We get by with half the space, we'll just do our own.
Next few lines are just administrative things, stationery forms, that's where we're buying like our W-2s and 1099 forms for all the employees, and office supplies is where we're buying things that are used countywide. As you go down through there, most of those are the same type of things, so postage machine is used countywide, telephone service, we pay it as a group, and so on. Copy machines. Miscellaneous in case there's something that comes up we don't plan on.
Backing up on telephone service, so if
That's
IT found that we're better off to make an equipment change, that's in his budget.
this is the monthly like bill we pay to the,
Right.
yeah. If we have to buy a bunch of new equipment, we'd either have to amend something into here or add it in here, or hopefully he would have something in his budget or something, because that's just the monthly fee. Which is down quite a bit. I mean, we used to spend when I started, each office had their own phone bill with the telephone company. So we were spending closer to 40,000 a year on telephone services, because each office had their own service and their own, if they had 2 or 3 numbers, or 2 or 3 lines, they paid the phone company for those type of things. And so this is significantly less over the years, but it's still some money there. Top of page 8. Midwest admin fee, that's for the flex benefits program. The MetroNet 28E, we pay 10 grand a year for maintenance on the MetroNet. That's something that might actually go away, because when the city starts leasing or taking over part of the MetroNet for their fiber optics to the home project, they'll be then providing money into the system to maintain it. So it might be that we don't have to pay an annual fee anymore, but that is to help fix breaks or do location services and those kinds of things. Insurance in the next section. I think I bumped one of these up a little bit based on some communication since I printed this, because I talked with Bushman Insurance or North Insurance of Community Insurance of Iowa. But they're to try to get some estimates on this, but those, we don't really have much choice on how much those are. They are what they are. We did get some updated. She did ask we could save some premium if we wanted to do with current value. She gave us a list of equipment that was worth over 100,000, and this was all road equipment, and whether we want to do current value versus replacement cost. And Michael and I thought we want to keep replacement cost, because if ever a maintainer is destroyed in some kind of fire or accident, we don't want to only get the current value when we have to replace it. So we did keep it at replacement cost. So it keeps the premium.
What would that change the premium?
I don't remember what.
Because replacement cost there, I mean, the value of replacements cost would be the same thing. Basically the same.
Well, like if the maintainer's 2 or 3 years old, so its current value is 350,000, then we pay insurance on 350,000. But if a new one to replace it is 500,000 and we pay insurance on 500,000.
They ain't gonna give us a new one though. If our 3-year-old one burns, they ain't gonna give us a new
They
one.
will if we keep replacement cost coverage. That was the point. You pay more for it, but you have to,
The
They,
landfill?
I mean, if we got one that's 10 years old, if it burns up, they can replace it with a new.
if we have replacement cost coverage, they will. But that's not, I don't think a 10-year-old one, it has to be only for items over a certain value. We only have replacement cost coverage on items over 100,000, I think.
Is that replacement cost?
So yeah, they have, the insurance company hired an outside firm to give new estimates on new replacement costs
Oh, okay.
for any of our equipment over 100,000. And so then Tara contacted me and I talked with Michael and we wanted to keep it at replacement cost so that they would buy a new one if our destroyed or so.
Yeah, it'd be built only so many year old stuff.
Yeah, it's the only things over 100,000. Yeah.
And next year's over.
I think we're over 100,000 because each individual unit is, yeah, you know,
Are you still removing the ones that are under a $10,000 value?
yes. Yeah, we
And those values have been looked at.
we get a report every year. We send the report to each office, each department every year. I'm not saying how many of them look through them in detail or not. I can't.
We haven't got one yet this year.
No, she's working on that. That's why we're kind of in that process. I think Tara's actually going to be on our agenda here in another week or two to come and talk to you about the next year's renewal. Bottom one, unemployment compensation. We haven't had a claim on that. We don't carry unemployment insurance. So if we have an unemployment claim, we have to have money available to pay it. And then back of that page, page 10, top few, we're just passing through it in and out for the borough Castine on Frankville, sewers and water. The next one down is that last one there is the buildings, or this would be like your capital projects fund. For now, I didn't put anything in there for next year. We still have the 250,000 from the current year that we're trying to fund. So, you know, you talked about the shop with Michael. I mean, that's where I would put that, put money here. If you wanted to budget some to replace that shop. I didn't put it in there yet, but we'll get to when I talk about the first run, and that might be one of your options.
Is it also where we put money for saving for the roof?
We have not put any money away saving for the roof.
Infrastructure would be basically infrastructure fund.
We can do what's called reserve money for a future project. It takes board action and it just takes money that's left over out of our carryover each year. And we can do that if we want to start saving up. Basically, at the current rate, we've never had any left to save. I mean, we've spent it every year. We haven't been. I mean, if you save 100,000 in one department, but you spend 100,000 more in another department because of a budget amendment, then it's gone. So we haven't really had any money to save at this point.
Are all of the ones on this sheet fall under this?
All except the libraries have a separate sheet, separate department. I emailed that out a couple weeks ago after you talked with them. And then the only other, there's two other ones, the Upper Explorerland DOT funding, it's like 5,000-6,000. That actually falls in the road department budget. So
And
that's
what about
not
helping services?
And helping services is in our substance abuse budget. So those are the three that aren't in this.
Historic preservation,
It's in here.
It's in here.
library, pioneers in here.
Yep. All of those are in there except the three I mentioned. The libraries, helping services comes through the substance abuse budget, and the DOT funding of Upper Explorerland comes through the road. Otherwise, the rest of them are in this page that we're going through now.
and this is all in the first run, is now the time that we could revisit?
I wouldn't do that yet. I'll get to that. Let me finish this department.
Okay,
So now I'll go to the revenue for this department. Local option sales tax are the first two lines there. I did raise this. You can see historically, we've been hitting about that 2 million mark the last couple of years. So I went from 1.8 million to 2 million. I never want to estimate this higher than what we get, because that gets to be a big problem the next year if we come in low. So I usually try to be conservative when estimating this, but I did bump it from 1.8 to 2 million based on the history. That third line down, that was the donations to the legal defense fund that we had, private donations. The next few things, so you can see the fines revenue, that's something that comes through district court. And then the DHS, that's that cost advisory services, what we get from the state based on what we spend. So the last few years, we have been getting more than what we've spent to have the reports done, but doesn't always end up that way. Most interest on investments is shown in the treasurer's account, but that line there in the middle of page 1 of the revenue, that's specifically, you can see the very first numbers, 30,000, that's the opioid fund. So that's separate. It keeps the interest. And then the next one down is also the opioid fund. So that's the money we're getting over the payment plans from the different drug providers. Now, the next one, the Miscellaneous sewer project, that's done now. So you can see it's blank for a couple of years. So that one's gonna fall off in another couple of years. That'll fall off our reports. That was the pass through when we were actually doing the project. Few little minor incomes there. The next page, you can see we have the $1 a year leases for a bunch of places. And actually, I guess I didn't take the Historical Society one off. Not that $1 would change your budget at all, but that one would come off because they aren't up here anymore for $1 a year. And Wellington Place, they pay, it's supposed to be $1 a year for the land, and then for the 3,000 is their internet. They pay the 3,000 a year is 150 a month or whatever it works out to be for internet connection through us. So they pay a little extra for that. Miscellaneous revenues, postage reimbursement. So we bill, like the clerk of court uses our postage machine, so they reimburse us. The assessor, which isn't part of our budget, uses our postage machine, so they reimburse us, those kinds of things. That's where that's coming in. The borough sewer project revenue there, that's they're paying 150 a month or however that works out to the pumps that you paid for that they're paying us back. So that's where that money's coming in. Lease, that's on the Verizon cell tower out there. So you can see the Miscellaneous sewer, nothing in there because that was an in and out when we were doing the project. And that's about it on the back page. Those are those in and outs for the Frankville, Burr Oak, and Pasadena. And then that bottom one is that would be the corresponding to the capital project account number on the expense. That I'm still budgeting, hoping we're going to sell something that's worth 250,000. That's what's calculated into this first run. Whether it's the DHS building or farmland or other property, I'm still calculating that we're going to sell something for 250,000. Yeah, otherwise it's gotta come out of our balance. So now we can look at the first run. So the first run, the three things that I would say you should look at is that for this is like Shirley brought up, the contributions to the organization. The levy rate history here, you'll look at that first column, shows what what levy rates I used to do the first run. And then this first run page, it shows the remaining balances after all these things are put in. I'll start with supplemental because that one's easy. I just picked a levy rate that tried to land us near the 2 million carryover, which is usually where we try to sit. If we wanted to put more money in the side health insurance side fund, we would just raise our levy correspondingly and still shoot for a 2 million per carryover. So that one is not restricted. So that one we just set where we think we need it. So that's why it's going down from $3.24 in the current year to $2.93 because we had that, the tower project isn't in here. But to hit that 2 million, that's where it calculated out at $2.93. But that one can fluctuate depending on what you think is your goal. I think one of the property tax reform bills I've read through lumped all of the county's funds together and put the 2% limit on it, not just the general and the rural. So if something like that were to happen, I don't think it will because the other bills keep supplemental separate because they know that that's really stuff that's out of our control because it's insurance and FICA and IPERs and things. I mean, but if something were like that were to happen in the bill that comes out of the state, it would be probably good to have your supplemental fund levy as high as you can so that you have a good base year. But I don't ever want to propose that we just raise the levy just for the sake of raising it, because no taxpayer wants that either. So that's why it's something, that's why it comes to you to decide how much you want to gamble on what they might do and how much you think you want to be as fair as you can to taxpayers. And, you know, if we want to say put 200,000 more into the health insurance fund,
what I was going to recommend.
we would raise this, however 200,000 works out to be raise the levy rate a little bit, and that might be a good.
Where would we put, if we have to have any significant remodel for the new county attorney that would be coming in, where do we put those expenses?
That would be in that same capital improvement, because I doubt John Halverson's budget is gonna come up with that.
I think so.
Theoretically, some of that could come out of the county attorney budget, because you're spending $2,000 a month for rent at the current place, so you have 6 months rent, there's 12,000 you can put towards the remodel without any consequence on any budget. And I think, like I said, I went as heavy as I think I put 125 actually in for the first run for the county attorney budget for the attorney's salary. And I calculated a full-time and a part-time assistant in the assistant salary line, which may not end up being. So there might be some extra money there from that too, depending on how it all shuffles out. But in the transition year, I'd rather have extra in there and have them turn it in at the end of the year than be trying to come up with money in amendment.
But this is definitely the time to build up that employee health insurance fund.
Yeah, I think that would be a reasonable, I actually, after I did the first run, I thought, well, maybe I should just do 500,000, but I know I had mentioned 300,000 in a board meeting here. And I thought, well, let's start with that on the first run and we'll talk about it.
Okay, I think it's short-sighted not to do at least 500.
I think the 6-county meeting, at least 2 of the counties that were there when they were talking about their supplemental fund had $1 million in their supplemental fund.
And we used to, 6 years ago or so, we had close to $1 million. And what happened is that we hit a couple of years with higher rate increases from Wellmark, and we said, oh, well, let's just fund part of that out of this balance rather than charging it all. And so now we basically deficit spend our balance down. And we didn't keep increasing it like we should have. It is what it is. So
What would Additional 200,000.
I would have to do a calculation here. It would change the levy rate. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I could probably calculate that here in a minute.
For this, until we're done setting this, should we just leave that levy alone for now and then go see where we are as we go through the next second run?
I think that's up to you. If you want me to add 200,000 to the payment to the side fund, I would raise this general supplemental levy an equivalent amount to generate
I
200,000.
think we
think
should
it's
do that.
minimum.
Okay,
We should, and potentially more. It's not like we're throwing the money away and it disappears. It's there in case we need it. And healthcare costs being as volatile as they are.
And it's.
I
close
mean,
to
if you got up to
level.
over $1 million again and you wanted to absorb some of the expense of an increase in insurance, you could do it again, but.
We gotta realize that's giving somebody a raise too. A supplemental fund goes to their insurance.
That's where we pay claims, yes.
That's, I mean, that's what they claim. Yeah,
It's a benefit to.
it's a benefit, so it's basically a raise to the employees of the county, is what it is.
You know, like I said, it may not get used, but chances are with healthcare costs the way they are going up, it will get used.
I mean, we used to calculate the worst case scenario is if every employee.
Yeah.
And every person on their plan had the maximum claims. I mean, hit up to the 6,500 for an individual and 13,000 for a family. So it all went, Wellmark's took over. That's a little over $1 million. It's like 1.2 million. That's our maximum exposure in a worst case
We
scenario.
completed it 100,000 a year for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Because we were at 700.
Yeah.
39,000, whatever it was when we started here. I did 5 years
So we-
ago, I think.
And in the current year, we've been maintaining, just increasing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think we've gotten the rates to a point that are gonna hold us steady, but that doesn't help build up our balance. That's why I'm thinking
What
this,
will this put us at in the balance in there?
it's just under 400,000, it's like 350 to 400, isn't it?
No,
Currently, 250 to
258 or
300.
259.
So we should be doing more than 500.
500.
No, 500's a big, that's plenty. That'd get us up to where we were 500.
And also potentially, if you don't do it, we'll restrict your levy rate.
If something
If
happens.
they change it to state.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and
we're
on
not-
another side note, when we raised that supplemental levy to cover the towers, I think we kind of promised the taxpayers that that levy rate would go.
Go back down after it was.
Yeah,
So we have to be a little careful on that note too.
Yeah.
next I'll hit the rural fund, basically because there isn't much, I mean, there isn't anything we can really change in that one unless you don't fund the road department at the maximum.
No, we got.
Which is what the county has traditionally done for as long as I can
I
remember.
think we all agree into.
Yeah, yeah, and so, like I've explained at previous meetings, that's not whatever they do in the property tax bill, that's gotta be addressed, because they can't have the road funding based on the valuation, but your property tax capped at a 2% growth, because eventually you won't be able to afford that anymore, because that's always gonna grow bigger than what your money is. So we're at you can see a couple of years ago, we were at 4 million left carryover in the rural fund, and we're down a little bit, and we're holding steady. That raising the local option sales tax 200,000 on when I went through Department 48 a minute ago, basically offset the additional funding to roads that wasn't part of our levy. So that ate it up. There aren't that many other things you can see in if you look at that, 1.4 million of the rural fund is actual expenditures, and over 3 million is the transfer to the roads. So the transfer to the roads is by far the biggest share in the rural fund. I mean, you've got the 200,000 for the roadside, and you've got almost 200,000 for the libraries right there. That uses up, that's in the expenditures. So that leaves, there isn't that many things in there to
change, so. So you're just kind of holding steady, a little bit under where we might want to be, but I don't think it's dangerous, because we're still at a pretty percentage-wise a good carryover, but dollar-wise, we've been just going down a little bit each year.
If it costs $468,000 for a 28-foot box culvert, I don't think we can reduce the secondary roads.
Yeah.
And 505.
That insurance fund is at 275, so if we put 400 in and go to 675, which would be pretty close to where we were 5 years ago.
I'm
Do the
comfortable.
400.
Gonna do 400 or 500?
I do the 400. 'Cause we gotta figure out where we got
So 100 more in there, not 200. What I heard a minute ago with the consensus was,
I don't care whatever it's.
Run it with 500.
and see what it look, see what our levy rate calculates out to be. Yep.
Like Dan, we said we lower the levy rate once we got this tower done. We got,
Come through to the taxpayers. I
Yeah.
completely understand that. So the general fund,
But they also have to understand other costs have gone up. I mean, that was then, and look at healthcare costs, what they've gone up since then. In a perfect world, yes,
but
but
then we're gonna start.
Some of the assessments.
Yeah.
general fund. So this is our tough one. So this is the one, it actually, because of our valuation growth this year and getting to have close to 6% increase in our, after the restriction of, in our revenue, it didn't come out as bad as it could have. So if you remember the last couple of years, we were sitting there struggling to get to 25% carryover, and this year we're a little over 25%.
But we also have 2.7 million less in ending fund. balance
Yes.
Than we did 2 years.
Yes. Part of that is that if you think about the math of it, when we were doing the like the Festina sewer project or the, one of those bigger dollar amounts that were passed through, so they didn't affect your total dollars, but they did affect your total expenditures, but they just had equivalent revenue, but that meant your carryover percentage, the same dollar amount was a less percentage because of the expenditures were higher. So as those phased out, it made your percentage go up, even though it didn't actually change the dollar amount. Anyway, so we're at 22.8 million, which is 27% carryover. It leaves actually a little bit of wiggle room. And like I said in the email, when I emailed this out, it leaves about 200,000. So it seems to me you have basically three options. You can budget that 200,000 in to spend, whether it's on organizational chart or putting it in 200,000 into the capital improvements line to help maybe fund the locust shop or something like that. You could not budget it anywhere in case you don't sell some property. So if you don't sell something to cover that 250,000, you'd have 200,000 extra just sitting there. So that would be one, that would be.
It's down to 25%.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then the third option is that you just save it. Next year, you might end up with only a 1% value growth, and you'd be glad you had a little extra money in the bank. So those are three, I think, perfectly valid options of what to do with that $200,000. I mean, I'm not proposed, the auditor's report will say 25 to 30%. So sitting at 27.5 there's nothing wrong with that. There's no reason you have to spend down to 25%. So if you want to save it, you might thank yourself next year when you're doing the budget. That being said, you could spend it, and I don't think it would put you in a bad position. So,
But if we want to use it for the infrastructure, say, we'd have to put it into that fund now before we.
well, that or we'd amend it.
Amend the budget
Later.
Later.
Yeah.
so I think you just leave it as a savings.
Leave it alone.
I'd leave it
Leave it
alone
alone.
That's
So we can flex.
in
however
case we
have
don't
to.
sell that I mean,
Lots of-
because by the time we get something done with that.
I mean,
it's
maybe-
gonna be after July 1st.
Maybe you'll sell property, you know, we've got different properties that have been thrown out there as things to sell. The old DHS building, the farmland, the extra lot behind the recycling, whatever it is. You sell some land. And it's more than 250,000. So say you sell 400,000 of land, you have 150,000 extra from the sale, and you have this 200,000 you saved in your budget. That could go, that's 350,000 could go a long way towards his locust shop project.
If we sell real estate, I mean, we want to put it back into another state.
I mean, the other option is you leave it there, something works out, and you, at the end of the fiscal year, you say, we're going to pass a resolution to reserve this money to fix the tower at the top of the courthouse sometime in the future. That's another option
But
too,
we
but
got 20 miles of road and bridges.
so.
They can be done through infrastructure.
So I'm not saying you should spend it, but I think that it's an option.
Where it's at.
I would like to, is this the time I can read this?
Yeah, you're looking at option one, we want to spend some more of it, and you want to, and like set one. Okay,
When I look back at the history, just in the time that I've served on this board, we had a water quality study done by Luther College that said everybody in our county who participated in that survey, including farm landowners, including city dweller, everybody, their top concern is water quality. We've got 4 water quality monitoring systems in our Upper Iowa Rivershed right now at a cost of $34,000 a year. One of them, just one monitor system would be $8,500. And I would like, their request to us was $17,000 to cover 2 of the 4. I would like to see us at least cover one of those 4. And if the state legislature decides to reinstate the funding for this entire water quality monitoring network statewide, which is a great idea, we wouldn't have to give that money to them. It would be contingent on whether or not the state decides to fund it again. Our state is number 1 in cancer rates, and I'm not gonna, don't interrupt me until I'm done. I knew you were gonna interrupt me. We are number 1 in rising cancer rates. Water quality is a top issue for the state of Iowa. Every single one of the people every single one of the water streams in this report that is often referred to by people at this table, all of them showed nitrate levels. None of them have 0 nitrate. And I think it's in our best interest to work with the farmers and see how are our conservation practices working in the Upper Iowa River watershed. And all of these monitors help us know those conservation practices are working. It's just an annual, consistent testing of our surface water quality, which is something in the study that we did with Luther College consistently showed that was the top concern of our residents. And I'd like all of these 3 pieces put into today's notes, if you would, Ben. Put them with today's meeting, please. When do we start listening to our constituency and their concern for water quality? And when do we?
All right, we'll keep going, Shirley.
I'm not done yet. So I would like to see us do the 8,500 to cover 1 monitor contingent on whether or not the state of Iowa is going to continue to fund it or not. So it's just a pledge of that if they don't fund it again. And it's only one of the 4 monitors in our region, not all 4.
We already, Turkey Valley, they already do it through RC&D. We have.
That's the
We
trick.
gave,
That's not
They-
the Upper
they do it.
Iowa.
it don't matter, we're doing for Northeast Iowa.
That,
We're giving money for testing for water.
but each
so-
river is specific to a different
Yeah.
area of our county. And I think
So,
Our drinking water comes from the Upper Iowa River.
no, our drinking water don't come from the Upper Iowa River.
We want to know what's in our drinking water.
We don't drink the water out of the Upper Iowa River.
First.
No, it comes out of the aquifers.
I'm
Diana.
still at 0.
Me too, I'm 0.
I agree with Shirley. We should at least do 1.
We should at least do 1 of
It's-
these 4.
Because you need to have data if you're gonna apply for grants and show that we have a need. And if we don't have the monitoring, we don't have the data. So it's an investment in the potential of getting help to remediate a problem.
So if they're gonna give you grant money out there to solve the problem, they're gonna give you grant money to do the water test, to do where the problem's at.
They have to know
So
it.
if they don't do that, they aren't gonna give you grant money to fix the problem. So no, I'm not.
That's today. You don't know what tomorrow is, but if you don't have the historical data, you can't go back and show them that. You have to have the data. Things will change in the future.
Steve, it sounds like it's up to you.
I want money to go in for an HR director. I don't want to go in anyplace else.
I think Iowans by and large have our head in the sand, so to speak, on water quality issues, and we got to get serious about this. This is a statewide problem, needs statewide involvement, and asking 8,500 for one monitor station is not a big ask. It is the very least
That
we
is
could
your
do.
opinion, surely,
That's-
that's turned down.
It's my opinion too.
That's fine. And we got roads and bridges we can't drive on across,
Water is
I
life.
guess.
Okay. What else do you have, Ben?
So no changes to this. No more changes to this.
To
No.
make a motion to do the 8,500 and vote on that and have it a public record. I make
You can
the
do that. It
motion.
wouldn't be, nothing's official till you adopt the budget, but you can,
Today, I'd like to make a motion to do the 8,000.
It is not on, you cannot do it. We're not on the
We're
agenda.
discussing the budget.
our
It's
motion would
budget
be to
discussion.
include 8,500 for
One,
IHR Water Quality Network in the second run.
that is my motion.
I will second that motion.
A motion and second to fund 8,500 for the IIHR Water Quality Network in the second run. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails.
Okay, so no changes there. We're gonna add 200,000 to the health insurance fund and readjust the supplemental levy. And do you want to propose adding the HR department and putting that 200,000 that we have left over in the general fund into that department? Or do you want to just wait to see how things shake out with the county attorney's office?
I'd be on a wait and see approach.
And it was another
I mean,
deal.
You might be sitting in a good position next year because you'll find out you have a county attorney that only hires one person and you find office space for them and you can save 100 or 150,000 out of that budget that you could then budget for an HR department. But that means that you aren't having an HR department for a year and a half.
We do have HR.
But you do have.
Can call and then.
And I haven't had much interaction with Dallas Lynch, so I thought maybe without getting into the details, how did that work for you? I mean, you worked with an attorney there.
Yeah, it worked good. I mean, she
The
was very,
HR services were provided via Zoom mostly,
Yeah.
so you didn't have to pay travel.
yeah,
But they
I mean,
they had an attorney present at your meetings.
Yep.
They found an investigator that was a disinterested third party that they found for you to do the interviews and things.
Very thorough.
I think it worked.
yeah, it did.
It just
is
was,
that at 300 an hour?
and as you see, we have, or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. But we have a contract with them to provide those services.
So would this look like, how would this look? The employees would have the law firm's number and contact that they could contact for
Right,
HR questions.
right now, the way it works is that they have to contact the county attorney first, and he has to refer it to them. Just because at 350 an hour, whatever it is, We don't want every employee calling with every little thing, because that could run our bill up excessively. But at the same time, if people aren't comfortable in making the initial contact with the county attorney, maybe you want to set up a different policy. That's why I increased the HR line from it was 15,000 for the current year. I put it to 25,000 for next year, because I thought, well, maybe if you're gonna make it a little easier, more contacts to them, to Dallas Lynch, then it might use a little more. I mean, right now that was Andy's, and then maybe you just wait to see who the new county, that's what Andy's choice is, that he wants the initial contact, because he wants to only refer things to them that need to be referred to him, plus all, even though they're attorneys, if it ends up in court, Andy's the responsible party
Yeah.
to defend the county.
If it's something simple,
And if it's something simple, he can maybe answer it without it going there first. And so that's why it's set up the way it currently is. But if one of the big concerns is that employees don't feel comfortable contacting his office, maybe we need another workaround. I mean, maybe you authorize a couple members of the Board of Supervisors that could determine if someone should contact.
Oh, no. Heck, no.
What's that? Or you just open it up and let employees contact them, and there's
We can't do that because then it's
every little thing gets,
everything, there might be something that we really don't want to spend $300 an hour on.
right, and so that's why it's hard to know how to set that up.
Mhm. You want it, however we set it up, it needs to be, first and foremost, something employees of the county are comfortable using and going to, and knowing that their confidentiality is secure.
I mean, if Lynn gets asked something that's outside the scope of just our office, she will advise them to contact Andy's office. Whether they do or not, we don't know. And if it's something that Andy can't answer, that's why we have this contract. He sends them to Dallas Lynch, or Holly has been the one
Or if
we
there's a
work with.
conflict of interest.
Or if there's a conflict of interest, he sends them on. So I don't, maybe people feel like they're getting a little bit of a runaround because we pass them off and then Andy passes them off, but there is a system in place.
yeah.
So is currently you assign Lynn to do kind of HR work?
She does most of the, what would be called HR work in our office, but it has nothing to do with complaints or she manages she has a locked file where she keeps personnel folders, so she may have some reports that are placed in there, but we don't do anything with those, whether they're, annual employee reviews, or they're something where they're getting a notice put in their file for something negative or whatever. We just put it in there and it's in there. We don't have anything to do with that process. But at the same time, right now, when we have a new employee, it's between her or I to describe, what our benefits are and what's the difference between these insurance plans, or what are your options for additional insurance or something. Usually she does it. If she's not there, I can do that too, or one of us will do that, but we're the initial contact for those type of things.
I'm just wondering.
She compiles from a payroll perspective, she's double checking time cards to make sure things are in the right columns, but we aren't trying to gauge if the person should be using that. I mean, if someone uses family sick time, it also comes off of their personal sick time, so she makes sure it balances, but we have no place in should they be using family sick time. That's not our call.
Is it possible for her to have a separate office outside your large office?
Why?
Well, we find one. I mean, if she could still be working for you, or 2 days a week, she's in a different office, so people have a chance to.
I don't think she wants to be,
She's not
she doesn't want to
yeah.
be the contact for a complaint
No,
or
she
something.
don't.
But
don't
she can
like-
make the
I wouldn't
initial
either.
referral.
She doesn't want to.
Well,
I don't
but-
think that's appropriate.
There's,
So if when the new attorney starts, would that position continue to make sure we're doing the sexual harassment training, the open meetings training that's now required? All of that would be done by the new full-time attorney.
Yeah, and presumably they're one or two part-time
Assistant.
assistants, depending on if they're a full-time assistant or a couple of part-time assistants or
Or
whatever.
those assistants would continue to sit in on like P and Z meetings and things like that. The HR piece of this we're talking about, it does need to be separate from the county attorney when it comes down to who's representing who.
I mean, maybe one of these assistants could be, since they aren't, especially if there's a part-time assistant that isn't, maybe doesn't have an office full-time in the courthouse, maybe they could be the initial contact who then, if it's really easy, can answer, and if it's not, can get that handed off to Holly or whoever at Dallas Lynch. I mean, maybe we need to try to encourage some way to make that contact easier.
Yeah.
And I think the county attorney's office is a better place, even though there's maybe some stigma than my office, because I don't think Lynch wants that responsibility too. And I think Steve and I have both talked with her. If we did create a separate HR office, she's not interested in being that position, because I mean, she's within.
What would happen then?
I mean, she's thinking about when is she going to retire,
Right.
not I'm gonna learn something all new.
Well, it's a completely different field.
Yeah.
It's a profession
Yeah.
that is totally separate.
So if we went with an HR person, then a lot of her responsibilities would probably go with full-time. Would probably go with that.
Some of it would probably go with that.
With that, what
that's
would happen
initial-
with her? What would she do then to supplement what she would be doing now?
Well, but there's a lot of things that we just don't have time to get done right now that we would use. I mean, we do sometimes hire some part-time people at elections just to help cover as busy as it gets. So maybe we wouldn't have to hire as many at those points. But I think mostly she'd be able to concentrate more on her current duties rather than, I mean, when it's busy, when we're having the audit, hacker analysis on site, or we're doing an election, or even if she's trying to work around a vacation or something, she puts in a lot of overtime hours. Mostly she keeps as comp time. We don't pay her, but and that would make that easier for her. That's why I kind of asked how much of this is, how much of that would the new person do versus what she would continue to do. I think some of the reporting to the FICA and IPERS, to the state, the feds, the IPERS, I mean, she can still do that because that's part of what's doing the payroll. And I think she would still do the processing of the payroll. Now, whether a full-time HR person would look at these time cards and just try to make more of a determination, is this person really using, did they write down they took sick time and they should have maybe taken vacation, or should we be tracking, who's using what, when, to see if there's abuse of the system? And nobody's doing that right now.
But I think that could be a partnership between Lynn and an HR professional.
And why is that not tracked by some of the department heads? or
That's,
staff?
that would be up to them to do that. We don't have, there's absolutely not enough time for us to try to track that.
No, that's what I mean, but for the department heads.
The department heads
department
hopefully
head
are,
responsibility,
yes.
in my mind.
Yeah, and maybe some of them do. I'm not saying they don't, but we aren't privy to that information. And so, I mean, I know that from a story from another auditor, was a new auditor, went into an office and they started tracking sick time. And when people called in sick, because they had felt that was something wasn't being done, and they found out there was a pattern. There was a rotation of who got to call in on Fridays for calling in sick. It was a bigger office. It was one of the top 10 biggest counties. So they had big staff, and we're talking a dozen staff, but there was a rotation. They had it set up whose turn it was to call in sick on Friday. And they're like, we're gonna stop this, because they had time to actually do that, look at that. And that's not, I don't think that's getting done in a lot of departments right
I
now.
think that also is really going back to, we need to implement a PTO system rather than sick time, vacation time. It's a
It's for
lot
another
cleaner
day.
and it's a lot easier to track.
That's definitely something, and I know that we brought that to the table since I've been on it at least 3 times. And every time it's a complaints, and I think it's mostly based on misunderstanding, but it's complaints by current employees. So maybe that they don't like, they want to keep it the way it is. They don't want to go to the new system. They don't want to go to the new system. So I think if we try to do that again, which I think would probably be a good idea, that we just say it's optional for current employees. We'll get all the new employees on there. We'll get some of the current employees to choose that option, and through either attrition or hearing about how it works, eventually we'll get everyone switched, but it might take a while. I mean, the same thing happened when they passed the law that we could send pay stubs electronically. Used to be, we had to provide every person a paper pay stub, even if their money was direct deposited. They passed the law. You could, anyone after 2005 or something like that, you could take a electronic pay stub, but people hired before then, it was only if they chose it. And up until about 2 years ago, we still had 1 or 2 people that were still getting paper pay stubs. And we had to mail them or deliver them through our county. But now we don't have any more. It finally all transitioned out of paper pay stubs.
I just think having 2 systems is defeating the purpose. And
It kind of is.
I went through an organization that they switched everyone, nobody left because of it. They bought out a certain number, and beyond that, the average person ended up with more time off than
Yes.
And
And
they were already
the
getting.
proposal we've had the last couple times that we've talked about it, I think the vast majority of employees would end up with more time off.
So to me, it's like, it's a tail wagging the
Yeah.
dog. It's like, we're setting the policy.
Yeah,
It's not
and
the employee.
the hospital, we looked at the hospital, this has probably been 10 years ago now, but they had transitioned. And we modeled our plan off what they did when we talked about it that time. And they said when they transitioned, there were lots of employees that didn't like this idea, didn't want to leave what they currently had, blah, blah, blah. And after the fact, people would not want to go back to the way it used to be.
That was the same way with where I work. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
it's a much better.
For another day.
Yeah, that's for another day.
So anyway, that's part of it.
I have a question here. If we were to go with this first run, where our tax levy rate drops 13 cents. Do we have
And the general fund?
Do we have the possibility of getting that back?
No, that's our legal maximum.
That's this.
That's
4.31.
4.31 is
That's the maximum.
that's the
Okay.
maximum we could levy. I mean, I guess theoretically, you have the 200,000 extra, you could lower that some, but I don't think that's, once you
Once
lower
you're
it,
lowering it, you can't get it back.
Right.
That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to get.
yeah, that's the legal
Okay.
maximum based on our current restrictions.
If we don't use it, we
The
lose it.
1.87 in the rural is the max.
It's same, that's the legal maximum too.
Okay.
Which we get, part of our HR question is, we don't have an office for them. So we can't solve that. We're faced with a full-time attorney and we have office space we have to provide. We have very limited opportunity of where we could house, because the attorney needs to be housed inside of the courthouse. Ben mentioned that I bring this up. We have to accommodate a minimum of 4 people. And from what Andy said, possibly 5, because you have a victim advocate also that.
You have the county attorney, the administrative person, the victim's witness coordinator, and then this one assistant county attorney. And currently they have 2, so that would actually be 5.
5.
But if it's 2 part-time, maybe there's some way they could share a space.
So inside the courthouse, when I look, we have 3 options, and only on the first floor, i.e. the basement, They called it the basement in the original plans. And that one option is the engineer's office. And we have no place to put the engineer's office, and they do not want to move, and their design staff. So that really doesn't appear like an option, but it's a consideration. That's all I'm saying. The other two is the assessor's office, which is kind of 5 offices, including the piece of Ben's lower vault that's used.
Yeah, for an office, yeah.
For an office. And the other would be the corner where the sanitarium, the planning and zoning, and Faith and her secretary are, and maybe even have to take and utilize a portion of the lower vault of the treasures from above, which doesn't have a lot of pertinent storage in it appears. And the part of that. So those are the options, but one of them, we have to really get serious about making a choice, because the assessor is retiring. The best space, in my opinion, because where to put and those other services, which are more related to the courthouse, than the assessor's office could be off-site, that leaves us either in a portion carved out or created in the community service building, or up on top of the hill. We couldn't put the assessor over there. Have to have public access. We don't have enough room for all of their staff over there. Next in the old jail is my opinion. I don't see how to do that without.
There would be major remodeling expense to get a handicapped accessible entrance into that building.
And so there's just that, I think that's out of the question. We could possibly, and I'm suggesting this early because you have a transition of a new assessor coming in. You can include a transition like that also sometime around that period of time would be better than trying to do it later. But we have to do it sometime in this calendar year, because we've got an election in November and a new attorney in January 1. So we have to begin acting, and it's a slow process to try to get this all through. I think at the best space and the easiest to accommodate is going to be in the assessor space. There's possibly, I don't see it being able to be used as an office. The old nurse's office, it's kind of a storeroom, right?
Right next to the.
Right next to it. Used to be a nurse's office.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's large enough to put an HR person in or not. It was used as a nurse's office.
It was. And when you brought up.
You don't want the HR person in the courthouse.
I was
I know.
gonna say.
That's the only place.
Who's going in
I
and
know.
coming out.
The only
That,
place.
that room is really small, and what's worse, the worst part about it is there's no windows.
No, it's an interior office.
There's one window that just opens into the assessor's office. So,
Actually 3.
Otherwise, you could take John Halverson's office and convert that into.
Yeah, but then you got,
But that's windowless also.
same thing.
And you do need a custodian there.
So, I mean, those are, nobody's going to be happy about a move, period.
yeah, that's true.
Change is never going to be happy by it.
And like I mentioned in Lori in my office, who records all of the transfers of property ownership on a daily basis, is working with 1 or 2 of the assessor's office staff, discussing, comparing notes and.
Daily.
Yes, in person daily. So I don't know how much of that it'll be easy to accomplish over a phone call, or if it's gonna involve driving back and forth.
How much space does the assessor need?
I mean, there might be some,
Well, you got a staff of 4.
Yeah.
And I think they use that one area as a small, like a little conference room to
So,
meet with somebody.
so you don't think that,
and the board of review meets in that room.
so you don't think the zoning,
If someone appeals their assessment, they have a conference room there.
so you don't think the zoning corner would be a better corner for?
It's a possibility. I don't think it's as good a possibility. And then where do we put the county sanitarian, planning and zoning, and Veterans VA could be moved easier than most any department.
That was my recommendation in the email, was if you could put them at the CSB, or, you know, Sean said they keep if he moves it out there, you'd have to have other people out there because it's too big. I mean, if you could put them out there and then shuffle the IT people over to this building and move the sanitarian and the zoning up to the room where the IT people are in the old supervisor's office.
Is there potential to use the old supervisor's meeting room next to your office?
I mean, we could do that. It doesn't get scheduled nearly as much as this room. But it does get scheduled sometimes as some meeting space. It's an alternate meeting space, so.
At what point do we have the discussion? I think we should put this on as an agenda item to discuss in another open meeting. But at what point do we involve department heads on this?
I don't see them as having a lot of choice in the matter because of the necessity of the.
But they might have ideas and solutions based on what they know they need and.
I mean, in my mind, everyone will have an idea that involves who they can move other than themselves.
Yeah.
So
How about the, you talked about, or somebody had mentioned there might be an office on the 3rd floor.
Tony told me that there's an office on the 3rd floor. When I asked John Halverson, he didn't think it was empty, but I haven't been up there to I went up there to investigate it last week, but there was a lady sitting in the hallway, because the jury was sequestered in the jury room. And so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go snooping in rooms while there's someone guarding up here. So
I think maybe
We have a
magistrate uses that office too.
I think Tony said you walk through that first door that's in the hallway, and then in there's 2 separate offices, and one is the magistrate judge's chamber, and the other's empty.
Which could be an HR person.
Yeah. Or an IT person.
We have 2 rooms down there at the community services building that aren't being used. Walk in the main conference room, and that other office space that was built right behind it was taken out of that room. That door could be put from that lobby right into that office space, and that could be a single office right there.
That could be the
HR would be
HR.
off the courthouse campus. Yeah.
If there was enough room that you could put the VA down there too.
You'd have to go, you have to either, our best, I think one of our best bets is trying to use some of that DHS space. It's totally, they have, what's the total, 3,000 square feet?
Well, we were gonna, somebody was gonna figure out what the minimum, and
what happened?
there's that other break space.
With them DHS and ask
Well, I'm
them.
gonna wait till kind of they've been there a year and just see what.
Well, we can't wait.
Here, get with them here.
Which is around the corner.
Do they need,
It's honest. They know by now what's going on. I
we've
think
got,
every time that I leave and drive by there, even the state cars are parked there.
This morning I was surprised, there was like 9 cars.
so,
Usually there's
but
3.
there is a common break room in there.
Yep,
And
they don't
I
want to
think
use it.
Somebody said they're utilizing one conference room as a break room,
They are.
which,
They don't want to use that other conference, that other break room.
well, then.
Could that be the HR or the VA?
HR could easily go.
In the break room? No, not the existing break room in the back.
No, that
Wall.
first one.
The first one that was conference room.
Just put a door across there and they. It's a beer.
I'd rather say that whole front area
Yeah.
for a larger need. That HR person in that other
no, that's
office
an easy
space
one.
we have,
That's an
that would
easy
be simple.
I think your idea of the HR off the main.
You put a door in there and you can put in a window which was across going into DHS, so it's a little bit of light up coming out of the lobby that way. Pretty minimal cost.
And that conference room is fully functional over there. We don't set up and use there at the community service building. And I don't think we have ever got up on a calendar to reserve on the,
I don't think
on the
so.
web.
Well, to me, that conference room just won't be in the office.
We could.
Could be.
I mean, that's just sitting there. They can come up here and use this here building if they wanna.
And the same with the conference room between the treasurer and the auditor's office. We need to use that as an office. I'd rather, if there's some way to keep the assessor specifically, I'm not as concerned about the ones from the other corner, but if there's some way to keep them in our building, that would be easier for my staff and their staff.
How could you put, Tony, if you use that office, put sanitarian and P and Z in that office? How would you see that possibly happening?
We can put a,
Cubicle. We have cubicles to store.
There might be some cubicle wall.
yeah, I mean, a lot of times they're
I was giving you the
they're
option.
doing their business at the counter.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you could have a entrance counter and they could just have two desks back in there. Whether it's there on that side or in where the IT currently is, and I could put the IT people over here because they don't have as much public,
IT's already kind of got a partition in that room
a little bit.
when you go off the.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think,
Do you put this on the agenda?
Yeah,
Anytime soon?
that's what I was thinking.
The other
Talk
thing we
about this
should
for the next
do,
hour.
maybe possible closed session is discuss land sale.
Yeah, that, I thought we,
Property,
I
we
thought that
should
was,
get that on the agenda.
I think the idea was after you kind of got the budget.
But
Yeah.
we're kind of through that now, or we should get that on
I think
here
we should talk
sooner
about
than
it
later.
later.
to
I would
figure
agree.
out what.
I think that, wouldn't that be in an open meeting to talk about what land we're talking about? And
No, no,
Why?
go into closed session. Then we can talk monetary issues and stuff
Small
like that.
land.
I think if all you're talking about is what land you might want to sell, you would do that in the open. If you want to talk about how much money you want to get out of it, then you go into
That's what I'm
close.
saying. You talk about it at a public
Well, we
meeting,
did.
what you're.
we already have, that's already been discussed on the various parcels and even,
I mentioned 3 of them today. I mean, that have been mentioned in different meetings.
I made a suggestion. A while back, I made a suggestion to the county engineer that even that section where he stores his, where we have roadside and we have surplus materials stored back there, if we took that acreage back in behind and offered that for sale, it would be something that even Grizzly might want to buy, somebody like that.
Move all the stuff across back.
Move it across, and then let Michael take, utilize the receipts out of that to take and put up cold storage to store it over there by the maintenance.
Yeah.
Or
Or put up a shop in Locust.
any number of things that he chose to do, but I mean, I think that's another parcel that's legitimate. We do have the only complication I see is we got a carved out lease piece for a cell tower in the middle of it. And that could be, I don't know how to,
You can maybe just leave that
That-
parcel
that-
as a county parcel on the leases there. I mean, they offered to buy it, but it was not a very good offer, so.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I think that's a distinct possibility.
And
But I
then
think
you
we need
also
to-
have one other consideration. How complicated it is, I don't know, but the Pioneer Cemetery utilizes some of that.
Some of that one building.
We'd have to find
That is-
someplace for them to.
But that's a very, very, Mark and I have seen,
Just
it's maybe 5 by 5 with
Yeah,
a few
it's
things
very
in it,
much-
that's all it is.
still.
Well, if we keep the community's old building on DHS out there, we could have storage for it there.
Yeah, we got-
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Well, let's put on the agenda possible land discussion next week. And
Closed
put
session.
possible close, what do we got next week?
Not a lot, I don't think.
So possible.
Put that at the end and possible closed session.
We have a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is now adjourned.
Who's seconded it? I thought Nick would jump at it, but he missed it. But we know who made the most.
Oh, yeah.
As of right now, there's nothing on the agenda on the 16th, which is President's Day. There's a chance that I'm gonna be gone that day. So I was trying to keep that one day kind of open, and if we don't even need to meet, that's one thing, or if we do, it would be a short meeting. You do, it would be a short meeting, so.
Yeah.
That's what I've been kind of thinking for that in my view.
Do we not have a meeting?
Most schools and district are not
Yeah,
in session that day either.
and we have a funeral to go to that weekend, so depending on how that all works out, I might not be back yet, so.
Should we not have a meeting?
I mean, if you want to just can't take it off, I'm fine with that, and I would just note it now before anyone calls in and asks for it, but
What date?
the 16th, President's Day.
Gives us all a 3-day weekend, that'd be great.
If there's nothing for us to, if we don't need to meet, I think they have it.
Okay, if the only thing is gonna be Michael to talk about road things, I'll ask him if there's anything that can, if it can
We
wait.
can still, at the end of this short meeting.
Yeah, if he has to, but let's try to avoid it as possible.
Other issues coming up that they have to address.
A lot of time people spend watching it from inside the courthouse. They could be doing other things.
I don't know if you,
That's true.
you know, you don't really, IT doesn't need to be in this building.
No, that's what
I mean,
I
not even,
said.
not even one, not even an office because of. they're
They can
supposed-
remote in,
Well, they're supposed to be using work tickets.
yeah.
That doesn't get
And
used.
if they're over there, that's close enough to me, for me.
Well, and you got, if we're on upstairs, any of the miscellaneous little stuff you have over there could go upstairs. All you do is get the engineer, get ready to record.
You guys later.
Yeah, I think all those rooms,
There's, yeah, the two in the back corner. back there.
yeah, they could easily be used. I have just some storage in there, and all the books and stuff, those, there's no reason those need to be in there. They could go up, they would go upstairs in a minute. Those old court books that are in there, they take up that whole one side of that
Oh,
room.
my lord.
Get rid of it.
Yeah,
Did they think? What if they really told us
That's a
if they were
first.
completely empty their stuff out?
I don't know. I don't know the reason.
But
But yeah, I think that there's, you can shut it down now,
Yeah.
Fatima. I think that there's underutilized space in that building, but we, like you
Oh,
said, we
yeah.
have to be careful about who it is and